Hey, this is Dennis with Cyberkraft. We're going to do another A+ practice exam. Last time we did the Core 1. Now we're going to do the Core 2 for the new 1201 version, or 1202 version, I guess. I got my note card, and we're going to be writing down the questions. Let's see how we do. I haven't looked at this one. So Core 1 and Core 2 are a little different. So let's see how I do here. All right. Let's get rid of this chat here at the bottom. All right. User cannot access company resources on their new workstation that they could access on their prior workstation. Which of the following action should a technician take to fix the issue? Okay, so this could be anything. This could be a program or a shared drive, or it sounds like an authentication issue. It's very vague. Now remember, I like to read the question, rephrase the question, then read the answers, then go back and read the question. And if you're very disciplined about that approach and you do that approach for each question, you really maximize your chance of answering the questions correctly. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So I don't know what they're driving at, so I think it's authentication, but let's take a look at the answers. Provide the user with the administrator account. That is definitely not it. Disable the firewall on the workstation. That's not it for sure. Join the workstation in the company's domain. That could potentially be it. Or enable facial recognition on the workstation. Okay, so we could answer this one just by process of elimination because I know it would not be A, B, or D. So it's going to be C. It has to be C. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot to go off of. It's not a very specific question, but we definitely know it's not the other ones. So that's good. Process elimination can be very helpful. Our question 2, an IT support specialist is preparing to migrate a critical application. This migration will impact the operations during the maintenance window. Which of the following would help the specialist determine the potential impact to the business as part of the change management process? Okay. So let's rephrase that because it's a wordy one. We're migrating an application. Migration's happening during the maintenance window, so it should not impact availability. And what would help determine the impact of the business? So I'd say the length or the time of the migration, the resources required. Those are potential concerns. I'm not sure what they're driving at, so let's read this. End user acceptance, risk assessment, manager approval, or peer review. Okay, so a risk assessment would be what they're trying to get at here. So impact is when a risk meets an occurrence. Basically, that's when you have your impact or your risk. Whenever there's an occurrence that meets a vulnerability. In this instance, we have a migration. So we have to analyze either the impact, and one way to mitigate that impact would be to handle this migration during the maintenance window. So this is trying to gear us towards the risk assessment. So it's going to be risk assessment. It's an interesting question. It's very wordy, and it's very wordy for a reason because it's trying to dance around this term. So it doesn't want to say risk. It's just using risk-adjacent terminology. That's why you know it's risk assessment. Which of the following is a type of malware designed to record a user credentials and other entries? Okay, so this is going to be some type of key logger. Anything that's recording your inputs. A key logger, A. It's not a Trojan. A keylogger could be installed using a Trojan, ransomware, or a rootkit. And a rootkit could also include a keylogger. But the best answer here is a keylogger. So could be multiple right answers, but keylogger is the best answer. A team member providing a link to an online slide deck presentation so that other team members can add to the presentation. Oh, provides a link. I see. The link does not work for any of the other team members. Which of the following should the team check first? Okay, so the team member provides a link to a slide deck and other team members with the intent that other team members add to it, like a Google Sheet or something. The link does not work for any of the other team members. That's probably a permission issue. So I'd say permissions first, or let's see, version history, web browser compatibility, viewing and sharing permissions, or license management. Now, the most likely reason this is not working is probably the viewing and sharing permissions, C. The other things could impact it, but that would be the thing to target first. So I would say C. Now, this one I could get wrong. There could be something else that CompTIA wants you to think of first, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. And this is the one answer that makes the most logical sense. All right, a user is purposely deleting files and folders containing company information. Okay, that's malicious or an insider threat, which the following describes as attack. So it's an insider attack, insider threat. Purposely deleting files and folders containing company information. I think it's insider threat. Whaling, on path, insider threat, spoofing. Yeah, insider threat. Whaling is whenever you're doing phishing, a spear phishing campaign targeting like a CFO or a CEO. On path attack is when you either capture credentials or capture a cookie, and then you pass that forward to gain access using that same credential or cookie. And then spoofing is whenever you try and claim that you're a legitimate business, for example. But this is insider threat. 100,000%. A technician is reviewing malicious activity on a machine. The timestamp information shows this activity takes place overnight. Which of the following should the technician do to prevent further occurrences? So you can set up boundaries for when an entity or an individual is online. I forget the term for that, but there is a term for that. That would be a good one. Time of use restrictions, I think. Let's see what the thing is. Disable desk accounts, restrict login times. Well, we don't even need a term. Restrict login times would be, I think, the answer. Apply an account expiration date. That's useful if it occurred after a certain amount of time, but it's overnight. Enable screensaver locks. Okay, so it's going to be restrict login times. Bravo. Which of the following best describes what happens when an OS reaches the end of life date? Everybody's forced to buy Windows 11. No, I'm just kidding. When an OS reaches the end of life date. Okay, there's end of service and there's end of life. End of life means that the operating system is completely dead. There's no support for it. I tend to get these two terms mixed up sometimes. End of service and end of life. I'm pretty sure that is when it's completely non-supported. So let's see. Users are not able to log on. That's not true. Users cannot purchase the OS. That's okay. I think that's end of service. Security updates are not released and new drivers must be installed. Okay, so I think end of service is when security updates are not released. And then end of life is when you can't buy any, it's not released commercially. I could have this very wrong. It's either one or the other. I might have it flip-flop, but I'm pretty sure end of life is when it's no longer commercially available. So that would be best described by B. And I believe end of service is when the updates and the security patching is no longer available for the product. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not, because I wanted to explain it correctly. All right. Question 8. A technician is replacing a laptop's motherboard that is covered by a warranty. Okay. Technician must return the faulty motherboard to the manufacturer as part of the warranty agreement. Which of the following should the technician do after removing the old motherboard and installing the new one? Well, they should return the faulty motherboard to the manufacturer. They should also write down all the serial number information and everything and take a picture of it. Connect an ESD wrist strap to grounded connection port. Well, you should have done that before removing the motherboard. Removing the battery and AC adapter from the laptop. That should have been done well before you remove the old motherboard. Use compressed air to clean out any loose debris and dirt from inside the laptop. I mean, that's a good idea always. Place the old component in an anti-static bag for shipping. I think that's the best answer here. Which of the following should technician do after removing the old motherboard and installing the new one? So if they've already installed the new one, then they should have already done this. They should have already done this, and they should have already done this. So this is what I think the best answer would be, because these three should have already been completed. Now, I could be wrong, and CompTIA might say, no, you got to clean it out again or something. Possible. I think D is the right answer, though. I could be wrong. All right. An IT help desk project was to be completed in 3 days after work hours for another department, is now 2 days overdue. Okay. This is why I like to rephrase the questions. The department leader is upset and wants to know when the project will be completed. If a department leader is upset over a day delay, I wonder how much experience they really have. Which of the following is the best approach in this scenario? Okay, help desk project was supposed to take 3 days after work hours is 2 days overdue. Oh, it's 2 days overdue. Okay. So what's the best approach in this scenario? Well, you should evaluate how much time is remaining on the project, and then you should determine the estimated costs associated with the remainder of the project. I mean, this is more like a project management question. Escalate to management team without talking to department leader. That's a bad idea. Ask for an extension to the deadline. Not the best solution, I don't think. Apologize for the delay and offer a viable solution. Request the department leader provide the request in writing. I mean, I would say C. You know, it doesn't hurt to apologize. You can offer a solution. I think that you're working towards a positive solution at that point. Ask for an extension to the deadline. You're not really providing any information here. Escalate to the management team without talking to the department leader. I mean, communication is always helpful. So I would lean towards C. I mean, that's how I'd like my organization to run it. Request the department leader provide the request in writing. I mean, that's just asinine. So I would say C. Now, again, my thinking could be different than what's correct, but I think that's the best course of action. An employee is receiving emails and calls from people in their contact list about phishing emails from the employee. The employee recently installed a third-party email client with access to the device's contacts. Which of the following should the employee do to resolve the issue immediately? This is a strange. I gotta reread this. An employee is receiving calls from people in their contact list about phishing emails from the employee. Okay, so people in the Okay, so Joe Schmo is getting calls and emails from his contacts, from his peeps, saying, "Hey, Joe Schmo, you've been sending me phishing." Okay, I think that's what they're saying. Joe Schmo recently installed an email client with access to the device's contacts. Okay, well, so the email client is malicious and is sending out phishing links. What should the employee do to resolve the issue immediately? Call IT. Give somebody who knows what they're doing your phone. Check the employee's outgoing mailbox. Uninstall the unapproved application. Delete the contact list from the device. Add the messages to the junk mail. Okay, so I would say just uninstall it. Delete the contact list from the device. I would uninstall the application. I mean, that is... But honestly, I would say, Joe Schmo, stop touching your phone. Give it to, John Mc certified in A+, Security Plus, and have him handle this. That's what I would do. So a lot of these, I think, they have a lot of opinion with them. I think that's the last question, right? That's the last question. So let's see how I do. I don't know if I'm going to get all these right. I think I'll probably miss some, honestly. Let's see. All right. C, B, A, C, C, B, C, okay, D, C, B. Okay, so we got 9 out of 10. That's not bad. It's not bad, especially because there's a lot of opinions on this one. So which one do we miss? We missed 7. Security updates are not released. Oh, so I did get a flip-flop. Hey. Okay, end of life is when there are no longer updates released for a operating system. So this is like Windows 10 in October here. No more security updates will be released for Windows 10. That's end of life. End of service is when you cannot purchase the operating system. So we should have answered C. Security updates are not released. That means end of life. Okay, so I guess that makes sense. If it's end of service, you can't buy it. And then end of life, basically at the end of service, it's on life support. And then when it finally dies, it's a dead operating system. There's no updates for it. So Windows 10 is now approaching end of life. Okay, 9 out of 10. I always confuse end of life and end of service. I got to know those off the top of my head. But pretty good. I hope this is helpful for you guys. I appreciate you guys joining in, watching the video. Again, if you're looking for A+ training or A+ practice tests, boot camps. We have instructor-led classes, self-paced classes, practice exams for you, all on cyberkrafttraining.com. Happy to help you get you certified in A+. Great certification to start out in IT. A lot of roles require no experience, just like the A+ certification. It's a great way to break into IT, get your foot in the door, get you on your path towards an IT or cybersecurity career. But hope this is helpful. I appreciate you watching the video, and have a great day.